week's astrology. Now, this is the 16th to the 22nd of November, which means we are right in Mercury retrograde season. Last week, he was stationary for most of the start of this season that we're in. And now it's like we're getting the lessons, we're getting the call to clean up some of the energy around how we communicate our truth, the ways in which we trust our intuition, the ways in which we find it hard to listen to the truth. And there can be a lot of energy which is replaying from childhood around the suppression of your voice, even the ways you might have held back anger or not being able to communicate your frustration. So, I would be saying this week, Mercury's retrograde and speeding up. It's a week where you can really feel it. Like the lessons are landing around what this season is all about. It can feel a little bit like you're going backwards, particularly if you're trying to move forward. If you're trying to step into a new chapter, it's almost like Mercury's like, hold up, not the time quite yet to be doing that. It's also a period of being drawn within until the 30th of this month and really having energy and people from your past reappear as teachers to teach you about how you communicate, about your intellect, about how you listen and trust your intuition. Now, this is particularly significant because this week we've got a new moon. The new moon will be peaking the 19th to the 20th, no, 20th to the 21st of this week. And that means that the energy is also pulling in. Like, not only is Mercury calling you within, which is the intellect, but the mind as a whole, which is the moon, is calling you within yourself. So this week can be very introverted, very sensitive to your environment, very receptive to what's going on in the world and within your own world. And it's giving you the opportunity, like the real potential of this week is to listen to yourself. Listen to that little voice within and what it is trying to tell you. Now, this new moon on the 20th, 21st, it's going to be in Scorpio, sitting with Mercury retrograde, which will heighten the energy of Mercury as well as Mars. It's sitting in a part of Scorpio called Anuradha Nakshatra. It's the first-ish house, first-ish full nakshatra in Scorpio. And just know this is a new moon that can bring up a lot of repressed anger, a lot of frustration, and words that you have swallowed, particularly from your childhood, particularly related to your father or paternal figure when you were growing up. And they can come up in weird, wonderful, and potentially destructive ways this week. So just be very considered when you feel that energy rising. The other side of this new moon is that it's also about devotion, unconditional love, and insight into the fact that everything that irritates you is there to liberate you. It's like no frustration, no enlightenment, or no mud, no lotus, which is very much what Anurata is about. It's really helping you see what binds you. You can learn more about the new moon with the ritual and reading, which includes a personal written reading for the new moon based on your chart, a sacred intention setting practice, and an astrology forecast just for the new moon. The details are below. The other thing I want to mention before we jump into the daily astrology is this week there's some pretty sensational energy with the sun. It is going to be in harmony with both Jupiter and Saturn. So there's this giant triangle or grand trine in the sky with these three. It makes this week, it adds to the energy of this new moon. So although there can be frustration and kind of energy around like facing yourself and your subconscious coming up, there's also incredible wisdom, an incredible desire for devotion, for love that's coming from within, and even to touch that part of you that is pure love, that is unconditional love, that doesn't expect anything from you or from anyone else in the world in order to love. I'll also mention as well, because we're going to get to it, but Thursday, Friday, we have the Mercury Kazemi. So this will give a little bit of a reprieve from Mercury retrograde this week as we get to Thursday, Friday, and also provide incredible insight. So keep that in mind. Let's start. Sunday, the 16th of November, Moon is in Virgo today, in a part of Virgo called Hasta Nakshatra, which is ruled by Mars. Now, what that means, it's a day where you might not be able to help but meddle in what is going on around you, in correcting the people around you, in correcting what they are saying or how they're saying things, or even how they might be recalling a memory. And at the same time, you can find that people around you are reflecting that back to you and trying to correct you, trying to tell you that you didn't remember something correctly or you didn't say something correctly. So just notice, because this whole thing of like correcting can really set off a lot of repressed anger. Now, this is a moon which can be harnessed to not judge yourself or others, but rather to reflect on how you think the world needs to be, how you think it needs to change in order for your life to be better, in order for you to have peace, in order for you to have love, and then reflect on why you don't have that right now. And kind of contrasting this idea of like what I think the world should be doing, what the world is actually doing, and realizing that it's the gulf between these two things that creates the tension in your life. The world is going to world. The world is always going to be the way it is. There is no amount of free will or pressure we can put upon it to change it, but we can meet our thoughts about how the world should be different with compassion, and that brings peace. So instead of getting caught up in the details today, use this day to be open. There's actually a lot of potential, a lot of opportunities that sit within this day, but if you're busy correcting other people or getting offended by people correcting you, you're going to miss it, because the mind will be shut down to those opportunities. So keep the mind open, keep the hands open, because Hasta is the hands, and really um, be open to the fact that the opportunities and the blessings of today might not look the way you think they should look. I just be saying as well, just with Mercury retrograde, I just want to point this out with Sunday. Just be careful around conversations you might have around new projects, new beginnings. Because we're in a Mercury retrograde period, there's energy around this moon which says that like there can be conversations about things you want to start, directions you want to head. But just know like Mercury is not conducive for the start of new projects. So instead, just maybe write them down to come back to at the beginning of December when Mercury is direct. Or if there's something you're going to start, don't put too much pressure on yourself to get it right. Know that you're probably going to have to come back and fix some things up around the beginning of December. The potential, the cosmic potential of this moon on Sunday is to create, to dream, and even put into practice creating with your hands. And often Hasta is quite an artistic energy in Virgo. Like it wants to create with its hands, and that can be writing, but it could be like ceramics, it could be painting, to create something that endures, maybe through your writing, maybe through art, to let yourself be a channel for the divine without a preference of how it needs to look or that it needs to be productive. Now, also today, the sun is going to enter Scorpio in Vedic astrology and Sidereal astrology. If we looked up at the sun and we had one of those apps and looked at where the sun was, it would be starting to enter the Scorpio constellation. It will be there till the 16th of December. So the sun moving into Scorpio, it's naturally going to build to quite an intense month through to the 16th of December. Maybe not today because the sun is still coming out of Libra. But the nice thing of the sun moving into Scorpio is it's starting to regain its strength because it's debilitated in Libra. So you can find that between today and the 16th of December, there's some lot of subconscious energy that comes to light. There's a way in which you're able to live with greater passion and maybe a little bit more intensity, and maybe your intuition is much stronger than it usually is, that you're able to see what you've hidden from yourself, but equally able to see what others might be hiding or unable to communicate to you. It's very much a season of transformation. And it's really, if you think about it, it's going to be a month of working with the subconscious in a really big way. Secrets being revealed, desires being understood, Even understanding that some of that subconscious, well, actually, most of that subconscious programming you carry doesn't start with you. It has origins back to past lives, it has origins back to your ancestry, and also has origins to the collective energy that you live in. Just just to note, the start of the sun being in Scorpio can kind of reiterate this energy of just today, like of communication, intuition, ideas, and listening, particularly with friends, groups, and even to do with social issues. You can find that's the way this Scorpio season wants to start with you. Like, how do you speak? How do you intuit your friends' energy? How are you in social situations? Finally, what's really beautiful about the sun in Scorpio also is that Jupiter, which is exalted at the moment in Cancer, I've been talking about in the last couple of weeks, will be aspecting the sun until the 5th of December. So just know that whenever the sun is like forcing you to go into the subconscious, is forcing you to maybe deal with some of the darker energy you've been carrying or the stuff you've been hiding from yourself, Jupiter is supporting you in that and helping you get the wisdom from that search within. It will never be wasted. Finally, just with the sun in Scorpio at a nakshatra level, so at a lunar mansion level, which is about 13.2 degrees, it breaks up the zodiac into 27 signs, essentially the movement of the moon in a month. But this part of Scorpio that it's in to start with is called Vishaka. It will be there till the 20th, so not very long. But you can find the best way to use the energy until the 20th is really towards things that have a long-term payoff that aren't immediate. And I would just be saying to you at the beginning of Scorpio season, really like, what do you want to grow? What seeds do you want to plant? And even like what weeds or what old seeds do you need to rip up that aren't growing, that you're giving energy to, and it's actually just perpetuating an old cycle, maybe an ancestral cycle or a cycle around family programming that doesn't serve you. Let's talk about Monday, the 17th of November, a very lucky day. We like that. The moon is still in Virgo and it will be moving into Chitra Nakshatra. And towards the end of the day on Monday, it will be moving into Libra. Now, still in Chitra. Now, the moon will be ruled by Mercury for most of the day, and Mercury is retrograde. So it can be a very reflective day on Monday. It can bring out issues where you refrain or hold back from following your truth, speaking your truth, and even issues around doubting your creativity, your originality, your ability to create in this world. It's a day where there can be a really big focus on truth, on law, on dharma, even the call to correct something that you did in the past because of Mercury retrograde, who can take us back into things that have happened in the past. Maybe correcting something that you did that wasn't particularly dharmic. And you might find that comes up in conversations or places where you omitted the truth, like you didn't tell someone exactly what was happening, you just kind of like glossed over it or you omitted it. And it's also a day of really like where you haven't been following your own internal dharma, your own internal law. It will encourage you to do that. The potential of Monday is to be deeply creative. This is a moon, a mind in this position that wants to make. It wants to do. It wants to create enduring forms, particularly through words, conversations, and putting ideas on paper. And these might even be ideas that you've had before, like ideas that you used to be excited by as a child or in your teenage years that are coming back up as things that want to be expressed again as an adult. Saturn and Neptune will be sitting opposed the moon, so they'll be aspecting it. So you can find that kind of like Sunday night to Monday, there's really intense dreams. Even on Monday, the sense of being in this like liminal energy of your intuition feeling really sensitive, as well as with Saturn, the sense of responsibility, of restriction, and a call to really slow things down. Like, really, this week is not going to be a week about getting things immediately. It will be about putting in consistent effort. Collectively, on Monday, we might find that there's some strange activity around what is legal and not. That doesn't make any logical sense. like through the government and institutions enacting laws which they're just totally devoid of reality. And that will be Mercury throwing its wild card energy into this situation. Now, why Monday is so lucky is that Jupiter, the Sun, and Saturn will all be in harmony with each other, all trine each other. And I gotta say, like, we deserve this aspect. So it's really beautiful. Um, and it's a day where it's like responsibility meets freedom. Like responsibility can be held lightly, where structure meets liberation, where it can feel like the cosmos, like you can get a sense of understanding of why things have been delayed in your life, of why things have been pushed back, about why there is a deeper cosmic timing to what is going on. This can tend to be more an internal energy than external because both Jupiter and Saturn are retrograde. So you can find that this is more about that sense of like freedom and responsibility coming together within you, like making sense within you. And regardless of what this day throws up for you, there's this ability to kind of like navigate it, to see the bigger picture, to have deep inner realizations about yourself, about your sense of belonging, about even who you are. And just don't be surprised if it's hard to explain what it is that you're feeling, what it is that you're sensing, and what it is that you're intuiting. Um, it feels like some of that realization can be around the fact that the hardest things that you have encountered in your life have actually created for you the greatest freedom, but you could not see it at the time. Tuesday, the 18th of November, the moon is in Libra. It's in a part of Libra called Swati Nakshatra, which is ruled by the North Node. Now, the moon will be sitting with Venus today. Venus is at home in Libra, so we love this. We get this like extra boost with the moon, extra strength with the moon of having Venus sitting next to it. It can be a day externally where there's a lot of wind. It's breezy, things are blowing around, and internally, that is what we will be feeling. It's a day where inside it can feel like the mind's a little bit scattered and many ideas that are going on. It can be hard to nail down one direction or one point of focus. And what can be important, like on Tuesday, is just being careful around who you share your ideas with, because unless you want that idea shared, because what you can find is you tell one person and that information gets dispersed really, really quickly across people. So just be careful. If you've got something you really want to share that's really going to benefit people, share it on Tuesday. But if it's something that might be hurtful or gossip, maybe refrain, particularly with Mercury being retrograde. Um, it's a very transformational day as well in friendship. Any work that you do in groups or communication that you might be doing with groups of people, so like sending a mass email, posting on social media. And in this moon is kind of this option, like the energy can be destructive or it can have the ability to heal. So be careful of how you use your words today. Be very careful of the way you phrase things, of who you tell, particularly if it's something that's maybe a little bit ignorant or malicious. That said, if there's change you need to make, if there's something you need to remove from a group situation, if there's something you need to change in a group situation, this is a great time for it. And it's the perfect day if you notice that your mind is feeling overwhelmed, like maybe that energy is too much air, it's too much overthinking, it's too much ruminating. Go and move. If you haven't been to yoga or to the gym or for a run this week, this is the day to do it. It will benefit the mind immensely. Also on Tuesday, Venus is going to enter Vishaka. She's sitting in Libra, she's sitting with the moon, and she's going to enter the final lunar mansion of, the final lunar mansion of Libra, which is Vishaka. She'll be there till the 29th of November. Now, Vishaka sits between Libra and Scorpio, so she's kind of in that initiatory phase out of her home sign into the depths of the intuitive waters of Scorpio. And that will be building until the 29th of November. Now, it's a very, while she's in the Libra part of Vishaka, it's very auspicious. Um, and there can be a really big focus, regardless of where she is in Vishaka, until like the 29th of November, around the home, around the mother figure, your connection to the divine mother, the connection to your own mother, where you belong. And within that, because she rules the material realm, you can find that there's energy around how you spend money, how you spend your energy in your home, on your home, with your mother, um, on your sense of belonging, maybe on like the things you buy for yourself to make yourself feel like you belong. There can be this kind of energy. And if there's something you've been looking to do to fix or to change around your home, this can be a time that can help make that happen, particularly if there's been delays. I would just be saying the only caveat to that is selling the home, just because Mercury is retrograde. You can find that this energy, also while Venus is in Vishaka, also sees you kind of being pushed into a bit of an advisory role with the people that you live with your family members, where you can find that people are coming to you to seek out wisdom and knowledge, and the things you say to them might feel like it is the divine channeling through you. Finally, on Tuesday, the sun is conjunct the black moon Lilith. I always like a black moon Lilith placement because it means we're in the world of being unconventional and being rebellious. So the black moon Lilith is actually going to meet the sun and then add her energy into that grand trine with Saturn and Jupiter, which can bring truth, unconventional ideas, even insights that take you beyond your family programming, saying no to something you would normally say yes to because it just actually never felt truthful, and now you're finally honoring that. It's a day where you can find that you're looking at the future, you're speculating about what will happen. And on top of that, you can start to see the ways in which you are changing the programming that you grew up with by following what is true deep within you. Wednesday, the 19th of November, the moon is still in Libra. And it will be in Swati Nakshatra moving into Vishaka Nakshatra. And I just spoke about Vishaka Nakshatra. It's where Venus has just moved the day before. The moon will meet the sun because we're going to be on the 19th of November in the Tithi, the timing for the new moon. The moon will be at its darkest. The mind will be at both its most ignorant as well as the potential for it to be at its most divine. It can feel like on Wednesday, there's like this start of new energy that's boiling within you, the dawning of new intentions, a new direction, and deeply devotional spiritual undertones to that. It can be a day where you really feel the energy of the new moon, which will peak 20th, 21st, depending on where you are, or 19th, depending on where you are. And it's almost this energy of laying intentions of things you want to work towards, the areas you want to dive deeper into. And there can be, like I said, a really deep devotional energy with this new moon. It can bring a lot of wisdom, it can bring flashes of insight, and a really strong focus more on Wednesday around your work, your responsibilities, and what you actually want in life that's deeper than the material. Um, and it can bring about a balance between even like your personal and professional lives, or between the roots that you're putting down and the way in which you want to grow up. This is a moon on Wednesday not to be impulsive. Like I said, that's a big theme for this week. Just don't rush things. Don't try and expect things to be done straight away. It's just not going to happen. The cosmos is not really in that energy at the moment. So it's not necessarily a day to think about results. It's a day to plant seeds that you want to grow over a period of time. Mercury is also going to be opposed to Uranus today and in harmony with Neptune. So, I would be saying expect some unexpected energy around communication, secrets coming up, things being leaked, as well as issues or disruptions with electricity, electronics, and events around technology. Think social networks having a little bit of a go, like going down. I would just say plan to take it slow today. Thursday, the 20th of November, again, to reiterate, slow down and really listen. This day has a lot for you. It's Jupiter's day, the guru of the Zodiac. There's so much wisdom available on Thursday, but it really requires you to listen within. The moon will be moving from Libra to Scorpio. It'll be moving from Vishaka to Anuradha Nakshatra, and Anuradha is where we have the new moon. I spoke about the new moon at the start. It's deeply devotional. It is not about love and light. Like, it's not new age spirituality devotional. It's devotion to everything in your life, devotion to the things that are difficult, the experiences that have been traumatic, the people that have grown you through constriction, and seeing the divine in everything. It is really that energy of being a lotus, growing through the mud to bloom. Now, as Thursday will be the new moon day, you can find it really calls for you to slow down, to rest, to give yourself a little bit more time, even to cancel social activities in favor of time to yourself, because a new moon is like the energy has fully come down. It's very much about rest, reset, tune in. And the reason I say that's even more so today on Thursday is because we have the Sun conjunct Mercury retrograde, or the Cassimi, or the Sun combust Mercury, however you want to talk about it. It will be across kind of like late Thursday to Friday after the new moon peaks. It means that this energy across Thursday, Friday is incredibly auspicious. It's a day where you can get insight. If you have really been struggling with Mercury retrograde and you really don't know how to work with its energy or even what it's trying to teach you, this is a day which helps you land that, to understand what it is that you're learning about yourself, what it is that everyone around you is trying to show you. And it's also a time, because it's like the sun is burning through the energy of Mercury retrograde. It can be like the soul burning through the overthinking of the mind, the overthinking of the intellect. So there can be clarity. It's a day to go within, to really listen and dive deeper into yourself. And even to gain glimpses at the deeper meaning of life. It's a very introverted energy. Like, just on Thursday, like if you have a lot of social activity planned, it might be hard to actually show up to that unless you're incredibly extroverted. You can find that this is a day I'd be saying plan to have a slow evening, plan to have a slow day if you can, so that you have the time to really acknowledge what's showing up for you from within. Now, if you want to learn more about the new moon, like I said, check out the ritual and the reading below. Also on Thursday, Mars, after the new moon peaks, will enter Jyeshta in Scorpio until the 8th of December, Jyeshta Nakshatra. Now, Jyeshta is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is currently retrograde. So you can find, again, it's the universe being like, slow things down, slow your actions down. And you might find that you're actually repeating old patterns or simply getting a little bit confused when you're forcing things to happen. It can gift you with the desire to focus on the more spiritual, to be willing to dive deep into something instead of skimming over the surface, even to be courageous in not taking action, in withholding, in giving yourself space. Just be careful until the 30th of November with this placement of Mars sitting in Jyeshta, because you can find that there can be like a part of you that wants to act, that wants to do that. And even the mind telling a story of like, you need to take advantage of this, you need to do this now, or it won't happen. Just be very careful with those thoughts, because they can force action to happen impulsively that doesn't actually pay off. So just allow things to be delayed, allow things to take their time, allow yourself to fully understand what it is you're diving into before you go headfirst into it. Now, on Friday, the 21st of November, Venus's day, the moon will still be in Scorpio. It'll be moving out of Anuradha, Nakshatra, which sits in the middle, into Jyeshta, which I spoke about before, Thursday's day, which sits at the end of Scorpio. And it will be joining Mars, which means Friday, it's intuitive, it's intense, it's emotionally aware, and can get a little bit paranoid. Like, you will find you're very good at reading people on Friday. But Jyeshta, like I spoke about with Mars, that just entered Jyeshta yesterday, it's ruled by Mercury within Scorpio, and Mercury's retrograde. So again, I'm going to repeat myself for what feels like the 10th time. Slow down. Don't be hasty. Even if you feel you need to do something on Friday, take a moment, take a breath, and ask yourself, is that true? Do I actually need to do this thing today? This thing I think I need to do today, or can it wait? And I'd say as well, because of the position of the moon, generally with Jyeshta, things can look unlucky. Things can look like they're not working out, and you might find that's where you want to act from, because you don't want it to go that way, or you think it should be going this way. Don't judge things just yet. You can find that even what looks unlucky on Friday actually turns out to be an incredible blessing. We don't have like the foresight to always be able to see that or ever be able to see it. There can also be a lot of energy coming, kind of being sent from Mercury, who's sitting in Scorpio, to the moon, really pumping it with this energy and thoughts around that, like the places that you've sacrificed for others or haven't been recognized or not seen for what you've done, kind of like pumping this energy, like bit of a victim mindset going on in the mind. So if you notice that coming up, take a moment just to be with it. Take a moment to really comfort yourself in that and just know it's part of what's going on in the mind. It's part of what's coming up in the mind, but it's not necessarily true. Now, Mercury retrograde on Friday is going to so it's still in Scorpio, but it's moving out of Anurata, it's the second nakshatra in Scorpio, and it's moving back into Vishaka, which sits across Scorpio and Libra. And it will be in Vishaka till the 10th of December. It will be, uh, even when it turns direct, it will still be in Vishaka. Um, and it can ease some of the energy on Friday. It can almost like mitigate some of the energy of the mind that's going on. So just notice, like here, as Mercury moves back into Vishaka, I would be saying like this next part of Mercury retrograde through to the 29th is a little bit easier than the first half. There's the opportunity to see what you've planted. There's the opportunity to weed some of the things you have planted that maybe you don't want to grow in retrospect. And there can also be a lot of energy around the childhood, around the relationship you have with your children or the children in your life, and even how that programming is ready to change. Like it might still be playing out, but it's ready to change. Saturday, the 22nd of November, we finish the week with Gandanta. The moon is moving from Scorpio to Sagittarius. It's going from water to fire, which means we're going to be getting a little bit of tension rolling around within us. Um, and that just means that, like, it's a day for reflection again. It's a day to pay attention. And in particular, because when the moon will move from Scorpio to Sagittarius, so move from Jyeshta to Mula Nakshatra, which sit on either side of those signs, it'll be sitting with two asteroids, Hecate and Juno. So you can find that what is coming up and what's stirring, what that karmic knot, that Gandanta is about, is questions around loyalty. Questions around where you feel you give your power away or you disempower yourself, even where you need to start to move from a place of inner authority. Just don't be too harsh upon yourself on Saturday with this energy. It's a day to be really careful with your words, be really aware of how your thinking affects what you say. You know, very often our thinking means we don't actually hear what someone's saying. We hear the programming of how we think they're always going to be, how they're always acting, and it plays into a story we already have. So just be careful not reacting from that story. As the moon on Saturday moves into Sagittarius, you can also find that, yes, there's tension, but in that tension, there's an ability to get to the bottom of a situation, particularly if there's been miscommunication this week, if there's issues with siblings or just with friends, like kind of soul friends in your life. My only watch out on Saturday is just don't be too destructive, or combative. Um, but rather, if you feel frustration, if you really feel that karmic knot building, take some time out from other people, spend time with yourself, go within and listen. And if that's not working, get into nature. Allow yourself to regulate with the Great Mother. This is a week very much about slowing down, about devotion. And one of the easiest ways to do both those things is being in nature, in a forest, in the water, on sand, um, really returning back to regulate with her. Finally, on Saturday, Mercury will be aligned with the Black Moon Lilith. So you can find that maybe some of that karmic energy is stirred up because you say some pretty radical things, some pretty honest things, or it's time to say some honest things that you haven't been saying previously, that you've previously held back. Just be compassionate with what you have to say. So that's this week. I would be saying like it's really weak, just slow down, don't rush things, don't expect immediate results. Use this week to go in, to investigate yourself, your thinking, what you have to tell you, the wisdom that lives within you. It's all accessible this week. Finally, I have one spot left for the Oracle, which is going to be a 2026 astrology retreat that is online. It's half a day of exploring the soul of 2026 astrology through the lens of Vedic astrology, and in particular through the lens of the nakshatras, the lunar mansions. So if you want to learn more about the lunar mansions, which I've spoken about in this forecast, we'll talk more about it in there. There'll be more explanation. It'll be live on the 11th of January. You can access the replay as well. Just know there's one spot left. I'll put the details below. Have a wonderful week.